Hey guys, it's Scott with Scottie B Cards, and in this video I am driving 5 hours to Chicago to pick up a very cool card. Alright, tomorrow I'm driving to Chicago and I'm going to be picking up a card that I think a lot of you are going to be excited about. I'm essentially righting a wrong in a lot of ways with this particular card, and I've had to sell some very big cards, which I'll walk through after I reveal what the card is when I pick it up. I'm going to walk you through what I sold in order to buy this card. And the goal of this video is not to sound like I'm bragging about the card, because that's not really the case. One, I want to share the card with you because I'm excited and I think you'll be excited as well. But the second one is to show how it takes buying and selling and using your card equity to buy and move forward to other bigger cards and just to progress and that cycle associated with it. So with that being said, I am now going to get in the car, tomorrow morning. I'm going to drive to Chicago and we are going to pick the card up. I met the guy randomly on a player specific Facebook group and hopefully he's real. We did FaceTime and he showed me the card in his hand. So hopefully he's real and I don't die. If you're seeing this, there's a good chance I made it, but who knows? Maybe this is my goodbye. But regardless, I'm going to meet up with him. We're going to do the deal. We're meeting at a bank. He doesn't know this, but I have the cash in hand already because I don't want to risk the bank not being able to deliver if I drive 5 hours. But I wanted to meet at a bank so he didn't think I had cash on me in case he was trying to mug me. There's a little bit more protection there. But here we go. I'm going to drive to the bank in Chicago and we'll pick up then. All right, I am back and I have good news. I didn't get murdered. I got the card and the card looks awesome. And what that card is, it's a blue Bowman Chrome autograph, Shohei Ohtani, PSA 9 hitting from 2018 Bowman Chrome. And it looks fantastic. I see some people rolling their eyes that I bought an Ohtani, but again, in the last video I made in December, I mentioned that I do believe in Ohtani and I do think his cards are special. I think I did undervalue how important he is in regards to modern baseball. And after the World Series with Aaron Judge, who I think is also a great buy, but also has some baggage now, Ohtani really does have everything that you would want in a baseball player, right? The 3 MVPs, the World Series now, the 50-50 season, the hitting, pitching, like he really will be remembered forever. And I think I underplay that at times. And so I changed my tune and I was already looking for this card even before I made this decision and kind of realized the importance of him as a player historically and to modern baseball, but I just never could make a deal happen. I actually reached out to the guy I bought this card from a long time ago. I think it was back last year sometime. And because I made that video in December or November, one of the 2 months, mentioning how I'm not buying his cards, it was mainly just because they were expensive, not because I didn't believe in him in regards to price values in the long run. And I just thought I could use that money and keep my money into cards that I like because I didn't want to liquidate some of those cards, but I did liquidate those cards to not spoil it. Because in the next part of this video, I want to show you what I sold and how much I had to sell in order to get this card because I don't have unlimited cash and all the money I make in cards stays in cards, and I just keep building, buying and selling until I get cards I like. And I thought I was done, but I actually ended up selling a red Bowman Chrome autograph Paul Goldschmidt that I never thought I would sell, but the reason I sold it is because I got an offer I just couldn't refuse on it. And on top of that, I did sell the Clayton Kershaw gold Bowman Chrome autograph plus some other stuff that we'll talk about. And I do think that Kershaw is still a great card in the long run, even though a lot of viewers didn't agree with that opinion, and that's fine. I think that card is awesome, but there's no doubt that I needed an Ohtani in my collection. So I made the move. I listened to everybody because again, on that same video, I don't want to harp on it too much. I couldn't believe how much people disagreed with the idea of staying pat. And that kind of signifies to me either I'm buying at the very tip top right now, and if that's the case, it is what it is, or this really is something unique and special, and I think I'm leaning that direction, that it is something unique and special. And I did buy the Bowman Chrome Blue autograph pitching. The reason for it is I was looking at greens, I was looking at the base, but those just don't seem to have the same it factor. The greens are great, they're at 99, and the base is a base. So I can get like a PSA 10 base, plus save some money versus the PSA 9 blue autograph that I got. I could have had the PSA 10 base and extra money instead of the PSA 9 blue that I bought, or I could have also had a green BGS 9.5 probably for the same cost. But I think the blue's important. It seems like that one Dodger blue, which is cool, but also the greens just haven't really been selling as well. And I think it's interesting because you have the base, you have the blue, you have the gold, you have the green, you have the orange, the red, and the 1 of 1. So very few refractor parallels. He does not have a refractor out of 499. He does not have all the different shimmers and waves. He's very limited. One of the last players who is
is limited, and it's great for his card values and for the idea of prospecting on his card values for the long run. But with that being said, I did run a poll on my story on Instagram, and I said, would you rather have a PSA 9 blue Bowman Chrome hitting or a BGS 9.5 blue Bowman Chrome pitching? So higher grade, but it's the pitching version. And I think like 63 to 66% of the people said they'd rather have the blue hitting, even the lower grade. And I do think that's how it's trending for that particular card and for Ohtani in general. I think he'll be remembered as a hitter more so than a pitcher. The pitching is awesome. It's going to be what separates them all time. That's what we talk about. But I do think people prefer the hitters in general in baseball. We see that a lot of the time. And so that is also part of the reason why I went with this card too. I would love to pair it with a pitching one of these days. Maybe one of those atomics out of 100 that are great because the pitching parallels are the exact same as the hitting aside from atomic out of 100. And I think the atomics are awesome. So that is the card I picked up. Drove 5 hours for it, didn't die, met a guy online and did my due diligence and it worked out. But now I'm going to go back to my office and we're going to talk about what I gave up, what I had to sell in order to get this card, and how much card equity it took.
All right, we are back home. It's amazing how not fun that drive back is compared to the drive to pick up the card. Not because you're not excited to own the card, but there's so much anticipation on your way up there that when you come back, the whole 5 hours hits you. So that was about 10 hours of driving today. But now I want to go over what cards I had to sell in order to get that Ohtani card. And I will be fully transparent on everything I did move, just so that way you're able to know what I had to do in order to get it, because it does take sacrifice when you're using card equity to buy other cards. You have to sell cards you like, because typically if you own cards, you like those cards. And the way this process happened is this card is one that I've always loved. I bought this last May or so, maybe April, May, or June, one of those 3 months when Goldschmidt was really struggling. I got it on an eBay auction for cheap, got it for like $6,800. And it's one of those cards that I've always wanted and it was great to own. And I've always been a big Goldschmidt guy and I'm still going to be a big Goldschmidt guy. I still have a lot of his cards, but it was something where I paid $6,800 and I got an offer around $10,000. And in less than a year to make that much money, it's like, okay, well, I could flip it. I could always go get an orange or a gold. I don't really need the red. And that's what I ended up doing. So I sold the Goldschmidt and I was not anticipating buying an Ohtani right away. But then someone messaged me and said, hey, are you still interested? So then that kind of got my wheels turning in my brain and I decided to see what else I could move in order to get that card. Because I had about $10,000 ready to go, but I still had to make up like another $10,000 to get to the Ohtani. And so what I ended up doing is I did sell the Clayton Kershaw Bowman Chrome Autograph Gold. And that might surprise you because I was very excited about it, especially if you watch my other YouTube channel with a couple of my friends, Spitballing Cards. We kind of talked about my thought process and why I bought that card. And the reason I sold it is just because I thought in the long run, they're both great. That gold Kershaw is going to appreciate very well, I think. And I actually sold it for a very small loss to a good friend of mine. I actually sold some other cards to him as well as a part of this deal, like this gold Chris Sale and some other cards. But overall, I took a small loss and my thought process was, I don't think I have the patience for that card. And I really don't think I'd have the patience for it. So I ended up just selling it. And plus it was a step in the right direction. I probably should have just held the money instead of making the move in general, but I love the card. The thought process and the reason I did it behind still stands, but I did sell that. So that got me even closer, but I still had to make like another $6,000 to $5,000 in order to get there. So what I ended up doing, so I sold the Juan Soto for like 150. I sold this Helton jumbo patch for like 70, this Mookie patch for like 60, this red Greinke for like 60 or so, this Mookie coin stamp, which is a sick card for 40, $100 on this crystal ball, 150 on the gold sale. Then we had this blue sale for 200, and then I sold this Vlad for about $1,100, and I sold this Trevor Story. And I was really sad I sold the Trevor Story. It's probably one I was the most sad about because it was a 1-of-1 logo man rookie autograph from Dynasty. Like, it's the coolest card in my opinion of Story from his rookie year, or at least one of them. So I was sad to let that go, but luckily the guy fell through. So the deal fell through, and luckily I ended up selling my sealed Pokemon card collection. So I had enough money from that where I didn't need to sell the Story anymore. So that one is sticking with me, which is great, but it was in the chopping block, but I was able to keep that card. So I sold my sealed Pokemon card collection as well. If you've watched this channel or Spitballing Cards, I talk about my mother and I. We've always been buying sealed Pokemon cards the last few years together, and she has a significantly better sealed collection than I do. But I was really sad to let this go. I was really attached to it in a weird way for Pokemon cards, but I made a deal where I sold the packs. So I was able to open everything and just send the packs, which saved me a ton of time. It was a one bulk deal, so it was great. And combined with the cards I just showed, that got me enough money to pay off the Shohei Ohtani. So up to you. What do you think? Do I make the right move? Did I make the wrong choice? I know the Ohtani, I'm probably paying a little bit over market on it at maybe the worst time possible, but I bought into the idea of Ohtani. I've always understood, but I finally got to like the point where I was emotionally ready to get rid of some cards that I wasn't ready to get rid of before. And that's kind of what you need to do, is just talk about, okay, what do I want in the long run? Do I want a red Paul Goldschmidt who's great, but he's also like not an inner circle Hall of Famer, or do I want arguably one of the best players and most hyped players of all time, right? So you kind of have to think about it. Even though the red is more rare, the blue is going to have much more demand. It's just all those things to play with. And I finally bought in, so I'm very excited to be a part of the Shohei Ohtani fan club with you all now. I've always liked him, but now it's easier to root for him when you have money kind of at stake in the player. So thank you for watching. Let me know in the comments down below if you agree or disagree with my moves, and I'll see you in the next video.